Hello there, my name's Jonny Deth. Welcome to Death and Vengeance. This is the pilot episode for the podcast or show I'm trying to put together. It's a little crude right now. I'm gonna be getting a lot, better equipment. Eventually, I want to have guests and all that kind of stuff on my show. This is just kind of an introduction. I'm calling this one the Origins of Death. Basically, I'm gonna go through the um, go through the I guess the emotions, or go through the of what makes me me. All the I guess how I got started out doing this stuff. First things first, I grew up in the '80s, so I was fortunate enough to have a VCR, actually two, back in the early. I'm talking 83, 84, 85, around that area. Which was rare because unless you were super rich, a lot of people didn't have VCRs at the time because, believe it or not, at the time they were, top, as far as like merchandise and as far as like technology. That was like the peak at the time. It was Betamax or VHS, and VHS went out. So this is at the cusp of the video rental revolution that happened. And like I said, we had two VCRs. So what my uncle would do he would make me what I call mixtapes. So there'd be like 3 or 4 movies or whatever on a blank cassette, and I had a whole crap load of these that I would just watch and watch and watch. And it wasn't a hobby for me. It was more than that. It was like a because I didn't just watch movies. Like, I got engulfed in movies. I don't know how many 3, 4, 5, 6-year-old kids could memorize movies line for line, word for word, and that it could actually sit and watch a movie like The Exorcist, when they're 4 years old, and watch all these horror movies and not have nightmares. Yeah, so I also had some older cousins that kind of like were pretty cool about it. Instead of being like, oh well, this kid's 4 years old, 3, he can't hang. They were like, hey, check out this movie. This one's called The Prowler. Or this is Friday the 13th, or Halloween, and stuff. And and so I got introduced to a lot of stuff at a young age. I mean, not just horror, but I mean sci-fi, action. I mean, you name it. Shaw Brothers movies. Those. The Chinese. They would have them like on Saturday mornings and stuff. Godzilla movies. I mean anything I watched. It was really awesome. And I remember, fast forward a couple more years, I actually got, I started going to kindergarten. I remember distinctly, the teacher would be like, hey, so what did you kids do this weekend? One kid over here is like, oh, we went to my Aunt Mavis's house, one of the, oh, we went fishing, we went camping, we went to Walmart and I bought me some underwear and shoes, and it come to little Johnny, and they're like, so Johnny, what did you do this weekend? And I'm like, I watch movies. So the natural question after somebody says they watch movies, oh, what did you watch? So then, I would, I would start to tell them about the movies I watched that weekend. And, and I remember to this day, the horrifying faces these kids made, and because, I was like, I watched Nightmare on Elm Street, and their kids like, ooh, that sounds weird. What is that? What's that about? And the teacher too, because you got to understand, this is like the early to mid 80s, so it's not like, oh, I've seen that movie 1,000 times. Oh, I used to watch that back, or oh, when I was a teenager, I watched that movie. It was like, no, so I'm sitting there and I'm like, oh, and just like when you're a kid and you're excited about something, you're like, oh, and then this happened, and there was a guy, he's got a glove and he's got knives on it, and he's stabbing people, and I'm telling them like, every scene, every death scene, and I'm explaining to them the whole plot and everything. And I'm just looking at these kids' eyes just go from this to. And I think a lot of those my classmates didn't sleep for like a week because they're like, Freddy Krueger's gonna kill me, you know. Johnny said so, and even my teacher looked horrified, and I'm all like, and I'm describing every scene where when Tina gets killed and she's being stabbed, on the ceiling, he's stabbing the fuck out of her and stuff, and her boyfriend's like, "What's going on, Tina?" And and then that happened for maybe like 15, 16 movies. And after a while, I know I described like the Terminator and Dawn of the Dead. A whole bunch of movies to them. And after a while, they're like, okay, let's not ask Johnny what he did this weekend anymore. So they would kind of skip me and go to the next kid. But and I like to brag and tell people that I was into zombies before zombies were cool. And this is back right now. There's fucking car insurance commercials with zombies. There's, candies it's everywhere. It's mainstream. But when I was a kid, it was like, zombie, that's stupid. Oh, and stuff. So, George Romero is my icon of horror. Got into him at a young age. And he pretty much set me on my path to where I'm going right now. So, I owe everything to George Romero and a lot of my cousins, especially Agustin Garcia, creator and CEO of Bloodstained Films, which I'll bring up at another show. He's got a couple projects. I'll go ahead and mention it right now. He has one called The Plague Rages On. It's a zombie film. Really, really awesome. I'll be probably posting some trailers of it or some as they come out of that movie. It's being filmed in Austin, Texas. So looks really good from the production photos that I've seen. It looks really, really, really good. I think a lot of films these days have lacked in quality. It's so easy to make a movie now. Before when I was a kid, to get a decent camera, was thousands and thousands of dollars, and now you can fucking make a full length movie on your iPhone, or like an iPad, and it comes out in 1080p, perfect quality, and so that's the thing, so it's easy to make a movie, and a lot of people are, and a lot of shit's coming out. So, but that's another subject for another show. I don't want to get into that right now. So yeah, just a couple ideas of what's going to be on the show. We're going to talk about everything. It's going to be from, comic books, movies, of course, music, topics in the news, whatever's relevant at the time, if something's going on, we'll talk about it. It's going to be pretty much lighthearted, we're going to joke around, tell some, I like to do impressions, so I might talk like Peter Griffin sometimes, you little bastards. And of course I have my opinions, strong as they may be. Opinions are like, assholes, everybody's got one. So, all I ask is just, kind of keep an open mind, respect my opinions. I'll respect yours. If you leave something in the comments, that's fine. As I get viewers and fans, the males are going to be my death heads, and my female fans will be my violators. So if you ever hear me say, "What's up, death heads and violators?" you know who I'm talking to. So it's this is just I guess the pilot of my of the show I want to do. So, and like I said, it's just an introduction to me, what I plan to bring to the table. I plan to have guests, eventually, and better equipment. Right now, I'm just using a laptop camera, so it's not the best quality. Don't have any mics yet. Well, I do have a mic, but I can't find the stand. So, yeah, it's and I'm gonna try to do at least a video a week, if not maybe every other week. There's gonna be an addition to the show called Death Wish, which means you send in your comments or appraisals, or hey, you're doing a good job, or hey, you suck ass, or if you have a question for me, let's say we talked about something on the show and you're like, hey, well, what do you think about this, or hey, what about that, or whatever. And so in that segment, we'll have we'll call some people out and answer questions, or if it's a funny comment that it'll say like Jonny Deth blows dick. Not unless they buy me dinner first. And a lot of jokes on the show, so it's gonna be a real lighthearted show. Right now, it's just me. It's not gonna always be just me looking at my ugly face all day. I plan to have guests. Possibly my buddy Eduardo. Shout out to Eduardo, aka Acid Reflux. Andrew Martinez, aka Majin Drew. Will probably be on the show once we're able to get a good location to have it. Right now, I'm just doing it in my my living room, real impromptu. And one of the selling points of the show is no scripts. No scripts, no, nothing's pre-planned. Well, the only thing is I might write down the couple topics to talk about, but as far as any kind of script or nothing, it's just off the cuff. It's unscripted, unapologetic, and unfiltered, and just gonna be raw as fuck. So if you're easily offended, you're probably not gonna be a fan of the show. But I welcome all viewers, anybody that wants to come in and give a listen, give a watch, and throw down an opinion, throw down a question. If you like the show, give me a like, show me some love, subscribe or something. Like I said, just getting started right now. I'm a nobody. Nobody knows who I am, so I'm just trying to get myself out there. See if there's even an audience that gives a shit about what I have to talk about. So that's going to be the gist of the show. Like I said, it's going to be a lot of humor. I like to do impressions. You saw me do Peter Griffin a while ago. Peter Griffin, yeah, he's a fat little bastard, he's the fat man. Yeah, that's my Stewie. And then, there's the holy grail of impressions. Well, don't want to say the holy grail, but one everybody always tries to do, Christopher Walken. He's almost like William Shatner. Everybody always does, has a William Shatner, impression, and 9 out of 10 times it sucks. But the only reason it's William Shatner is because he talks like this, and he is kind of crazy when he talks, So it's like, oh, you're William Shatner, that's good, It's like, but Christopher Walken, he's the one that. So as the show progresses, like let me know how I'm doing, if I need to improve it, because I'm always working on it. So if you hear me say, oh, God, that sucks, or hey, you need to do more, whatever, because sometimes I talk like Christopher Walken. It's insane because I'm Christopher Walken, a big fan of Jonny Deth, per se. His show is fantastic, awesome, really spectacular. He's got all kinds of jokes, anecdotes, opinions for days. Real great guy, As you can see, I'm still working on it. So talk about movies. One of them I want to talk about today is Begotten. Hang on, let me get it out of the case because it's got a real bad glare. I don't think if that's going to help, but Begotten. It's from the director of Shadow of the Vampire. I don't know if you've ever seen that. It's got Willem Dafoe. It's basically a movie within a movie. But the director, Elias Mirahinji, I'm not sure. That's how I always pronounced it. It's a real great movie. It's like if you can see the cover, trying to get it without a glare. It's kind of hard. But it's a real surrealistic film. It's a lot of great imagery. This DVD is actually original release, so it's really rare. They have reproduced it over the years. Like I said, this was one of the originals, and it's uh, pretty pricey. So that's why I keep it in the little hard case. Plus, it just looks cool as fuck. So, yeah, it's real. It's hard to describe because there's no. You can't say there's a plot. There's a antagonist, protagonist. Character arcs and all that kind of stuff because there isn't any. There's no music. There's no dialogue. It's just imagery. It's kind of creepy, but it's kind of fascinating at the same time. It's almost like watching a car wreck in the best possible way because you're intrigued and you're watching it, but in the end you're kind of like, oh, what am I watching? Like that character on the cover, he's ripping out his stomach, and it's called the death of God, which means like symbolically, like the death of maybe that innocence or the whole thing of believing in God, and then it's like the rebirth. So it shows like scenes of, and honestly, there's parts when you're watching it, you're like, is that an elbow? Is that a tit? Oh, it's an ankle. It's an ankle. And but that's part of its charm. It's done really, really well. It's just real creepy and real cool to watch. It's one of my favorites. It's just really blew me away when I first saw it because I never heard of it before. And, some guy that turned me on to, a couple movies was like, hey, have you seen this one? He's like, dude, he goes, check it out, man. I think you'll like it because you're into like weird and kind of creative shit. So I watched it and I was just blown away. It just blew my mind. And so to this day, I recommend it to people. Not everybody, just because it has to be somebody that I know is a real film aficionado, somebody that kind of has a respect for film. That because if you just give it to the average person, they're gonna be like, "What's that? What am I watching? This is stupid." And it's like, it takes somebody to be like, "Oh, like you show anybody on the street a Picasso, they'll be like, what the fuck is that? Like something my kid did, or like something, and then you show somebody that can appreciate art, and like, oh, look at the lines and this, and the negative, space and this and all this kind of stuff, and but it's pretty cool. Like I recommend watching it. I'll see if I can put maybe a link to the trailer. They have it on YouTube. It's pretty cool. So yeah, it's pretty cool. It's not my favorite movie of all time. I know it's probably taboo for someone to say they have a favorite movie, especially somebody like me that has, I have like 13,000 movies, give or take, more than. And the fucked up thing is I've seen all of them, a lot of them more than once. And I can reference most of those, I have them up here. So you'll say, hey, oh no, that's that movie. No, and I can, yeah, I don't know why. It's my curse, my gift, whatever you want to call it. But, yeah, I can recall and remember a lot of stuff from even if it's a movie I've seen once, like 1,000 years ago. I am that guy that people call at 3:00 in the morning. Ooh, it's like, hey, dude, what's that movie with that guy and that girl and like there's a tree in the movie? And I'm like, E.T. Oh, right. What's that film where that guy, he was in that one picture with that video and that guy, and then there's that song that goes, dun, 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 and it's like, Pet Sematary. Yeah, dude, Pet Sematary, I told you, man. And it's like, I'm like that with music too. So if you're like, hey, who sings that one song? I'm like, it's this, it's that, whatever. It's the Beatles. It's, whatever, the Bee Gees or whatever. Don't ask me how, don't ask me why. Just, so yeah, let me see. And then, I'm going to talk about, the show's called Death-N-Vengeance. So the death part is, of course, me, Jonny Deth, and my opinions on a lot of stuff, like whatever we're talking about, like if it's comic books, the Avengers or something, Marvel or music or whatever, so that's kind of me sharing my opinions, sharing myself with you guys. The vengeance part is going to be me talking about stuff that pisses me off, and luckily that's not in a short supply. There's a lot of things that piss me off. Recently, I had read an article about teenage boys super gluing their pee holes instead of using condoms. Let me calm down real quick. It's starting to piss me off just thinking about it. God, I get it. I mean, I grew up as a kid doing, stupid shit. You know what I mean? Like, I remember when I was in high school, I used to climb on top of the school buildings, and people would play hacky sack on the side of the buildings. They would kick them too high, and they would get stuck on the roof. So I climb up there, and I would get them down, and I would sell them back to them. Hey, I used to have one like that. It had a pot leaf on it. Oh, $10. You want it? Yeah. Until I got caught by the campus cop. I remember one time junior high, we broke into a vending machine. We didn't break into it. Somebody else did. We just took candies from it. But things like that. So we all do stupid shit, but fucking millennials, you fucking morons. I'm sorry, and if I'm offending anybody out there, but Jesus Christ. I mean, first you idiots were eating Tide Pods and, just doing a whole bunch of stupid shit. Like, now you're gluing your pee holes. Like, I don't know. I'm at a loss for words for so this is the kind of things we're going to talk about, on the show. And, and just fucking idiots, fucking morons. And like I said, if you're easily offended, don't watch the show, because you're gonna feel my vengeance pretty soon, especially for stupid shit like that. God, it just seems so stupid, gluing your pee hole shut. I don't know. It just seems painful and just kind of idiotic. You know what I mean? Like, I don't get it. Millennials, I don't get why y'all eat Tide Pods and glue your pee hole shut and do that those stupid videos where you step out of the car and you're dancing next to the car. What's even worse about those videos is that one idiot does it and you got like 1,000 people doing the same fucking videos, and they just drive me crazy because it's so fucking stupid. And I don't know. I just have this. I'm already itching myself because I'm fucking allergic to stupid people. And throughout my day, I'm surrounded by stupid people. So go figure. But so I mean, like I said, it's don't take the show too seriously. I mean, it's it's supposed to be fun, supposed to be entertaining. So take it at that. I'm hoping more people out there like it. I'm be having some, hopefully pretty soon, like I said, having some guests, having some better equipment, better setup in the future. So that keep an eye out for that. If there's anything you want to talk about, like I said, leave it in the comments. Subscribe, show me some love, please. Suggest me to a friend. Put a link of my show in a work email, send it to all your coworkers or something. I don't know, something cool like that. Let me see what else. Yes, that's pretty much it. So, like I said, this is the origins of death. So it's kind of showing you, I kind of talked about it earlier about how I got into movies, and like I said, my cousins were really pretty cool about it. They could have been like, "Hey, this kid can't hang," but they're like, yeah, this kid can't hang. He can actually watch horror movies with the best of us. And what really shocked him was that I was able to memorize them, and stuff. And I don't know, I was cursed with a good memory. And I remember like in first grade, I remember my teacher had a parent-teacher conference with my folks, and they're like, because I was drawing zombies and severed heads and guys with machine guns blowing out zombie brains and like demons with big horns and starling teeth and stuff. And now that I think about it in hindsight, that's one of those things that they would have called the school psychologist and had me locked up a long, long time ago. But in the 80s, it was a simpler time. They didn't, they were just, all they said was, Nick, can you get him like a drawing pad or something? So, um, yeah, so, it's just an outlet for me to express myself. So, feel free to express yourself as much, in the comments or whatever, just, let it loose. Don't be afraid. I censor myself a lot because right now I can't do this full time because nobody knows who I am. Plus, um, so I have an actual job that I do. So, and I have to censor myself, 90% of my day. So this is a chance for me to just let loose and just unleash upon the world. I'm an artist and a writer, so I'm gonna be sharing ideas and upcoming things as I complete those or as I'm working on them. So if you guys are interested in that, let me know. If you're not, then let me know too, so I can stop talking about it in the future. Let me see. Yeah, so I think that's pretty much it. So my name is Jonny Deth. Thank you for tuning in to the pilot episode of Death and Vengeance. I'm going to have more content, better content, more clearer content. Like I said, this is off of my laptop camera, so a little grainy, a little not up to snuff. And, some of my, as you can see, I'm a George Romero fan. That's a Land of the Dead poster autographed by the man himself. I actually have a lot of stuff signed by him. It's pretty cool. I got to meet him. One of the greatest days of my life. I got to meet him and hang out, and not just meet him, but I bummed a cigarette off of him, which I have in a little protected file case, glass case. And I kind of became. He was impressed by me because I walked up to him and I said, and he goes, "Hey, how you doing? Whatever." And he had his coffee and cigarette, and I was like. I looked him straight in the eye. I said, "This is like that part in Star Wars." And he's like, "How so?" I was like, "When Luke meets Darth Vader for the first time, the student meets the master." And he was all like, he just got up, started clapping. He gave me a big hug. He was like, "Oh," he goes, "That's the best response I've ever had. Oh my God," or whatever, this and that and stuff. And then people were like asking questions, and some of the guys who were with him, his crew, were like, "Oh, I don't know what year did it?" And they're all trying to, and I'm all like 19 whatever. And so I became that day. I was like an unofficial fact checker. I was a human Google machine because they're like, and stuff. And it was pretty cool. I got to hang out. He was like, "Hey, hang out with me." Yeah. What do you don't have to run off. So I was standing up there, and I was all like, unofficial bodyguard. I was all like, "Yeah, you're getting too close to Mr. Romero," But that was really cool. I used to talk with Tom Savini, which was a great honor. He was a real nice guy. I kind of friended him through George Romero. And we would email a lot. He would kind of check up on, and say, "Hey, how's it going, Johnny? What's going on, whatever." And I remember when his I sent him a card whenever one of the granddaughters was born. Got me stuttering. The benefits of no script and no editing. I can stutter and that's all, folks, through the whole fucking show. And so Tom Savini, another one of my idols. Special effects, just the best. So yeah. So that's a little bit about me. My whole life it's been horror. As you can see, this is just a little fragment of stuff I have in my room. It's just horror. Here, I'll tilt my camera back so you can kind of see all that. The Blob, The Exorcist, Cannibal Holocaust poster with the spike going up through the girl's torso. Of course, my Night of the Living Dead, Dawn of the Dead, European posters and stuff. So a lot of cool stuff. If you can see on the back corner up there, there's Bub with his chain, the mask. Horror is my life. Horror is my my love. I'm gonna share that with you, my opinions, everything. You may not like every show, but there's gonna be a little bit of something for everybody. I'm gonna try to keep you guys as entertained as possible. So yeah, tune in next time to this Jonny Deth show. This is Death and Vengeance. Like I said, I'm your host Jonny Deth. The pilot episode. See y'all next time. Thank y'all for tuning in. Please show me some love, subscribe, put any comments, anything you want to talk about on the next show. I guarantee you we will talk about it. And this show is only about half an hour long. Next one is probably going to be about 45 minutes to an hour, maybe longer. I'm not really going to have a certain time limit. This one, like I said, was just an intro. So can't believe I get my mouth off for 30 minutes. Time flies when you're having fun or when you have a big mouth like me. Big mouth, like I said. Jonny Deth, thank you for tuning in to Death and Vengeance. And I'm going to shut up now and catch you next time. To all my death heads and violators out there, have a great night. And please tune in to the next show. It will be very entertaining.